We're going to have to talk about, of course, Manchester United. 1-1 just then for Amorim. Do you think you'll be happy with that as a start?
Well, I think, in terms of the work time he had, which he's got like 3 sessions, maybe 4, to get his message across. I think give him a draw. Would he have taken that before the game? Probably. Certainly at the end he would have taken it, because Ipswich threatened a lot more than I expected them to. And they had a couple of chances, half chances at the end. Kind of petered out the game a little bit. But, in terms of what he's got to work with, I think he'll have more questions asked in terms of the performance than answers. And what you want as a manager is answers. You will say, oh, well, he's definitely the wing back. He's definitely the centre back, and we'll build from there. But I think he had a lot more questions there.
I'm just looking at our running order. We like a laugh on a Sunday night, don't we, Pards?
Yeah, we like it.
You like this one, yeah? It says 3 of Man United's starting players were over 100.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I'm surprised at the side he picked. I see a load of, pundits or whatever people like me are called, sort of selecting their 11, and I didn't think anyone got it right. It was like, they're expecting, a bit more youth in the team, etc., etc. So it was a strange setup, Casemiro and Ericsson in midfield, Evans at left side centre-back. It was a strange calls there.
And listen, I never write off a player just because they're a little bit older.
No.
Even on my Saturday team, one of the best defensive pairings I ever saw. One was 65, the other was 60.
Oh,
so,
come on.
God, but listen, Peter O'Grady, remember that name. He's the GOAT for me. Right, let's go over to the phone line straight away, because Dan was at the game. He's an Ipswich fan. Good evening, Dan.
Hi, Madge. Hey, Pards.
How are you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Yeah.
Listen, you've gone to Spurs, got 3 points, and I tell you what, you was unlucky not to get the 3 points today. You must be happy.
Absolutely buzz. Yeah, brilliant result. I thought before the game we got a chance to get a result. Maybe not on a new manager, but we've not been the best team this United. But now we've played a lot of games. We've been unlucky in a lot of our games this season. We've
Dan,
scored.
I was going to say that because when you come to Spurs and beat us 2-1, and it was you can't lose to Ipswich. I was like, you can lose to Ipswich. I've watched all of your games this season, and you've been unlucky. It was coming. That win was coming. So, to take those points. 4 points out of 6 against Tottenham and Manchester United, 1 being away. It's got to give you some positive sort of energy towards perhaps staying in the division.
100%. And with our run of games coming out after this game as well, now we've got Forest away next week. Then we've got Palace, Bournemouth and Wolves.
Okay.
So some games that we can hopefully get some points to them at home as well. So,
I mean, I thought today that Delap was absolutely exceptional. As a striker playing against Man United, that was as good a performance as I think he could have managed. And he was desperately unlucky not to get the second goal, wasn't he? I don't know if he was you at the game, was you?
Yeah, I was there at the game. Yeah, I was unlucky, yeah.
Yeah, very unlucky.
I'll tell you also, Amari Hutchinson, what an absolute player he was today. He was absolutely unreal today.
Yeah.
He's
Good player.
Started slow this season, but the Spurs game, he was brilliant at Spurs, done what he needed to do, and then today, the goal he scored, and he had... Yeah, I'd pull back some toast at times. He was absolutely brilliant.
I'm just looking at your fixtures, as you mentioned. You go away to Nottingham Forest. There, of course, they want to sort of amend the sort of losing to Arsenal the way they did at the weekend. But Everton go to Manchester United and Leicester go to Brentford. So the teams around you have got the possibility of dropping points next week. If you could get a result of Forest next week and get out of that bottom 3, all of a sudden you feel like there might be a bit of momentum with Ipswich.
Well, it is, yeah, and we'll say we're unbeaten. We're unbeaten in 3 again now. The Leicester game, we were very unlucky. We got that, and they equalised in the last minute, and we had the penalty that was never given, and that could have been looking so much rosier than it is now. But teams are getting dragged into it now. Around us, Everton are getting dragged into it. Leicester.
Yeah, there's so much so. Leicester, of course, sacked their manager because they know they're being sacked into that relegation battle already.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm still optimistic. I think. It's been saying the games this season, we've been very unlucky. We've only been torn a pace, and West Ham tore to pieces, and obviously City, when we were a bit naive, we went one up quite early, and then we got torn to pieces and almost 4-1. But other than that, we've not really been outplayed. We've been in every game.
Yeah, no.
Naive at times that can make goals and stuff like that, but.
Absolutely agree with you. Thank you, Dan. Dan Ipswich fan. He was at the game today, which finished a goal apiece for Manchester United against Ipswich. Not the dream start for Amorim.
No, the expected goals today was 1.7 for Ipswich and 0.9 for Man United, which is not what you'd expect. Especially with his first game. in those kind of stats, the stats that he needs to improve massively in terms of being Man United manager. 6 shots on target for Ipswich, 4 for Man United today. So, those big numbers, the numbers that a lot of pundits and media and fans look at as to sort of a reflection other than the result, are not looking great either.
Of course, on the other end of the table, Liverpool have got 8 points clear this evening. Went 2 goals to 1 down. When that came up on my phone, I couldn't believe it. I told my son, Leo, I just said it's not going to finish like that. There's no way it's going to finish like that.
There's only 3 managers who've got 9 wins out of 10 games. Do you know the other 2? Chelsea managers. Any idea?
Oh, in the Premier League era?
Yeah, Premier League era.
Jose?
No.
Oh, really? Conte?
No.
Ah.
Angelotti was one.
Okay.
And Hiddink was the other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, for a slot, to get 9 wins in 10 games is amazing. 31 points, they sit up there. Incredible.
Let's go over to Sean as a Liverpool fan. Evening, Sean.
Sean?
Yeah.
How are we, mate? You all right?
Yeah, it's been a great weekend.
Sean, your line's not the greatest. Let's try and get Sean back in a moment.
Yeah.
The line's not the greatest at the moment. Let's go to Mark, who's also an Ipswich fan who was at the game today. Evening, Mark.
Evening, fellas. You all right?
Yeah, very well. Listen, I mentioned to Dan just a moment ago, who's also an Ipswich fan, 4 points out of 6 when you go against Spurs and Manchester United. That's the kind of form that's going to keep you up in the division.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the result against Spurs last week was a massive win for us, first win of the season. And then, coming up against United today, which probably would have been like a bit of a new manager bounce for most people. But I think we dealt well with it today. And I think, we probably could have won it, to be honest with you. I mean, I know it was one of those sort of games where certainly the first half we were probably the better side. Second half, I think the intensity sort of ran out a little bit for us. Got a bit tired, but ultimately we probably could have won it. So, I'm really proud of the boys today.
Yeah, and I have to say that I thought you played with great belief today. Even though you say second half you ran out a little bit of steam in terms of energy, but the belief was still there, wasn't it? You were still trying to win the game. You weren't like sitting back going, "Oh, well, let's just hang on." There's a good philosophy there that he's building. Yeah,
I think that's what's been for McKenna since he's joined the club. From when we were in League One, as soon as he's taken over, he's given this side belief. And again, like looking at these players out on the pitch today, a lot of them are League One players, Championship players. So to come up against United, as I say, new manager bounce today, and it's still a decent side. It's still Man United at the end of the day. So
absolutely.
For me, I thought we did really well.
Yeah.
Brilliant, cool. Thank you very much, Mark. Ipswich are a bit like my little soft spot team this year. I had a soft spot for Luton last year. I wanted Luton to stay up. Ipswich.
This is your team.
I like what they're doing. I like what they're trying to do.
I just must correct Mark, because they're not First Division Championship players, they're Premiership players.
This is it.
Once you're there, you're there.
Yeah.
And it's always on your CV. But, I know what he means in terms of where they've recruited from. And, and I still believe a lot of the Premier League miss some absolute gems down the divisions. They really do. Well,
all you have to look at the time, Dele Alli, £5 million from MK Dons.
Absolutely. You can name loads and loads and loads. But I still think, when you do look at the Championship, you still find some jewels in there that, that are far better than some of these foreign players that we end up paying a lot of money for.
Go on, Parts.
Yeah.
So has Ruben Amorim realised just how big the job is at Old Trafford after that draw at Ipswich? And Man United fans, how many of the starting 11 do you want to see come next season?
Ooh.
Liverpool fans, will you be walking in a Mo Salah wonderland come May after another performance of champions today, especially from King Mo himself? 03717223344 is the number to call right now on the phone. We're phoning here on talkSPORT.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.